So, what a guest I have this evening. Yeah, let's just get into the introduction. So, he's currently touring the UK. He's one of my favorite local artists. His latest release is coming out on the 4th of March and it's called Heavyweight. He's been on BBC Introducing and performed at Maida Vale. He's got some serious pipes and can literally play any instrument that has ever been invented. Seriously, it's pretty impressive. So my guest is the brilliantly talented Joe Dolman.
Hello, thanks for having. That was a great introduction. I feel like you set the bar high for me right now.
No, I try to do a little introduction for everyone that comes on, but it's great to have you on, mate. It's been a while since we last spoke.
I know. I feel like we've become like proper grown-ups since the last time I spoke to you. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. We went to college together, and it feels like so much has happened since then. So how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. I mean, you say so much has happened. We've had a global pandemic, so yeah.
So much almost happened. We planned a lot, and not much happened.
Yeah. It's it's good, mate. It's I've lost my hair since.
All right, you pull it up, man. You look good.
Cheers, mate. You don't look any different.
Yeah, I'm still getting ID'd for absolutely everything. Super glue, Red Bull, the lot. Yeah, it's one. I tell myself it's gonna pay off in the long run, and I'm gonna when I'm 40, I'm gonna be like, getting ID'd not getting ID'd so much these days, But yeah, I'm looking pretty baby faced at the moment.
When you're 40, you'll still look like you're 25. So
I'll be rocking this hairstyle probably as well, which is went out of date a long time ago. I'm obviously just holding on to it for dear life,
What you're doing is it's gone out, but you're trying to bring it back in.
Yeah. So I can say that I brought it back when it eventually comes back round,
No, so yeah, I'm glad that you're good, mate. I'm glad that you're good and that you're coping well, and obviously with everything that we've been through recently, it's nice to see that you're doing well, and you're still creating some wonderful music as well, which is pretty sick. So
yeah, I feel super lucky to be out the other side of it and still doing what I do. I definitely was on the verge of having to really change kind of life, whether it was just, and I'm rubbish at everything else. I've worked really hard at being good at music, but when it comes to any other skills, I'm useless. So, it would have been I would have had to literally start from scratch to do anything else. So I'm really glad that I've managed to get through the other side and still be a musician, So, yeah.
I was just looking at it as well. Actually, you said, when we were talking about setting this up, you were like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna, I'll go down to the studio and I'll sit in the studio and we can record from there." So just to clarify, you've got your own studio. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like crazy impressive. It's basically a glorified man cave in the garden, is what it is. But it's where it's where I make pretty much all of my music. It's a humble but very useful place. It's a great creative space to be in, and I'm very grateful and lucky to have the space and means to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, I know exactly how you feel, mate. So obviously, with me doing this, we're about to move. At the moment, I'm in a flat, so this is my spare bedroom that I'm currently sat in. But when we move, the likelihood is that we'll have a summer house or something in the garden that I can then sort of build a proper studio out into. So I'm looking forward to having what you've got. So
it's great. It's honestly I used to just write, in my room, and I used to work in another studio in Leamington, and I've moved around. I lived in Brighton and whatnot, and I've always tried to find space, but having a space of my own that I don't have to rent for the day or for the month or whatever. And it just being in the garden, I can just leave it, lock the doors, and then go back to my home, and feel like I've got some separation is real game changing, to give me some real clarity. It's nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can imagine that's the most annoying thing as well when you're trying to be creative and you're trying to write stuff. Having to go and pay to use a space to then be able to do that must be frustrating, because if you then, I don't know, for example, writer's block, or you struggle to write something, then you feel like you've potentially wasted that money sat there.
Crazy, the being creative on the clock can be quite difficult. It's a great skill to build up, and like I see songwriting and being creative as like a muscle that the more you do it, the more you get stronger at it. But when it's like, you could just be like eating your cereal and go, I've got a great idea for a song, I better nip upstairs, grab all my things, put them in the car, drive to the studio, set everything up, get it out of the cases, plug in a microphone and go, what was that idea again? Like
yeah.
It can be really difficult, whereas this is like I can come down here with my cereal and in my slippers. I'm actually rocking Crocs because that's where I'm at in my life. I've chosen over class, but it's nice to just be able to come into the studio, do whatever, and it doesn't matter if it wasn't productive, it wasn't whatever. It's just like it's a space that's always on, and it's like I see it as like a very active studio. I don't have all the gear and all this amazing equipment. I've got enough stuff, to like record songs and whatever, but it's just a place I can put ideas down, which is the main thing, really. It's what it's all about.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So yeah, obviously I was just talking, I mentioned your EP at the start. So I thought that might be a good place to start, really. So I guess the first question I've got is, obviously it's an EP, so it has more than one song. It's not a single. For those of the people that don't know what the difference is, an EP has a collection of songs. So how many songs do you have on your EP?
So there's 4 tracks on the EP, and the final song and the kind of release of the EP is March 4th, as you said. So there's one more track to come out. 3 of them are already out, but there's also like an acoustic version of all the songs coming out as well. So it's kind of like, if you buy the CD, there's a CD available. If anyone still listens to CDs, they're just like glorified coasters now, I think. But there's 8 tracks in total on the EP, but they're the same song twice, different versions. So an EP is just like a big single, basically, with lots of B-sides. Back in the days of vinyl, it was like an extended play. That's what it stands for. So if anyone was interested, I'm not sure even I am interested in that, but I thought I'd say it anyway. So it's 4 tracks, 4 songs, 8 tracks. And I'm excited for it to all be out. I feel like I've been making this EP for like I started making it before the pandemic.
Wow.
So it's been like a really long time coming, and I'm excited for it to all kind of be out, and I can creatively like move on to the next thing. I've already started, working on new stuff, and as you can imagine, it's been a long time. It doesn't always take 2 years to make 4 songs, but I'm already kind of cooking up the next thing now, and excited to kind of tick this off and move on to the next thing. And I'm excited for people to hear it. Yeah. Cool.
So also, as looking at that, and then I'm looking at your previous stuff that you've done. So my partner listened to one of your tracks the other day, because I said, this is, I've got Joe coming on, and played a couple of the songs, and she loves your music. Like from that, she now listens to it in the car and all sorts when she's like going places, which is really cool. So you got yourself a new fan. From that side of things, that makes it about 6 now. No,
my mum, my dad, my girlfriend.
So obviously she really likes it, but there was one song on there that she was like, I'm pretty sure I've heard this before. Has it been played like on Radio 1? Have you had any songs played on Radio 1 or anything like that? I know you had Introducing, but has that sort of been picked up? I've had like 2 songs played on Radio 1. One of them's not online anymore. I took it down. It was like a really old song. I was like, I'm not really sure that song is what I want to be sharing as my music anymore. Yeah.
And then I think Close to Home, which is like a song I wrote about, 5 years ago, was a song about dementia. That got played on the BBC Introducing show on Radio 1. So that was really cool. So it's amazing to get even any local radio play, let alone like national, like Radio 1 and stuff. Super lucky. That's cool that she'd heard something before though.
Yeah, no, she I think she just sort of, it just twigged to her that she'd heard it before, and she's like, I know this. Where have I heard this before? And I said, you've been on Introducing and you've done that, so it might be that that's where you've heard it. And then she went and did a little bit of research, and she found out that obviously that it was written about dementia and that sort of stuff. And yeah, she thought that was really cool, considering obviously what we've got planned in March. The fact that sort of it ties in quite nicely to obviously what you've written that song about. So for the listeners that don't know, in March, the Friday Night Show is hosting a gala event, and we're going to be raising money for Alzheimer's and dementia. So yeah, if anyone is interested in that, come and get, you can come and get your tickets. We'll post obviously the link in this video and other places as well. But yeah, I just didn't know if that was one of the reasons why you were interested, because I've asked you to perform at that event, haven't I? So I didn't know if that was one of the reasons why you'd be.
When you said like what you were doing it for, I was like, yeah, I'd absolutely, love to be involved, and it all feels very full circle to be doing something. When I released that song, we did a music video, and we like chatted to Age UK and Dementia UK and Alzheimer's Awareness, and they all got, they all loved the video. I made a music video, if anyone wants to check it out, and kind of had a whole bunch of different guests come in and hold up like placards, and we asked them questions, and they wrote down their answers about who they knew and how it had affected them and all that sort of stuff. And it was honestly like, I just cried for like a whole day straight. It was like, but in the best way. Like, it was amazing, really. Like, I think there was people who just didn't know how much they needed to talk about it until they started talking, and then it was like, oh my god, like everyone's just crying. And at first I was like, what have I done? I've like traumatized a whole room of people, for a music video. But I still talk regular, and this was 5 years ago, this song, and it's like, I still talk regularly to pretty much all the people who were in the video, and it's I just think music's an amazing way to connect with people, and it was great to make that video for that song, and now to like do this gig for you as well would be really nice, and hopefully we can raise a bunch of money to help raise a load of awareness and help a whole load of people. So yeah, win-win for everybody, hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's really cool as well. And actually, you say I feel like I traumatized a room full of people, but actually what you've probably done is gave therapy to a room full of people, and that's incredible in itself to be able to do that whilst obviously doing that music video as well. I bet so many people came away from that feeling so positive about that experience and just being able to get stuff off their chest.
Honestly, I think it really did, and it had such a good connection with people. Like, it's funny, like it didn't actually get loads of views on YouTube, but this was like, it got shared on all of those charities' Facebook pages, and I think on Facebook it totaled up like 2 million views across all their different things. And I remember the summer after that song came out, so we're talking like 2017, 2018 maybe, I was playing at this festival in like Kent or something. I'd never even been there at this particular festival, and I didn't know anyone would even show up to watch me play. I was playing like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on like a tiny stage, and I remember like a couple of people coming up to me and being like, oh, we heard your song close to home on like a local radio station because the charity had like said about it, and they were like, oh, I lost so and so, my nan, I lost a grandparent, a wife and stuff like, and your song really helped me. And I was like, that is great. Like, I had no idea that anyone in Kent had ever heard my songs. So like, for people to come and be like welling up, talking to me, being like, thanks for coming here and playing this song, I was like, no, thank you for showing up and listening to it. I think it's amazing the way people can get together through music.
Yeah. That was just Sky Sports, by the way, in the background, just if anyone heard that.
I didn't hear anything. So.
It's just like a notification popped up. So no, I think that's I think that's really cool. The fact that without even knowing that you've done it, you've touched people, and people have you've evoked a response out of people from your music, and that's really cool. I think that's what every artist strives, isn't to achieve, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the goal. I've never been excited by anything other than just making music that people connect to, but that I connect to, so it's great to see, even if one person felt something from it, I'd be like, mission accomplished. So you see like the numbers getting like, the number of those people, it's not even about the numbers. I don't really care for that. It's more that like, it's each time I go out and play some gigs, like I've been doing last week, and put out some new songs, like it's just so nice to see people connecting with the stuff that I'm going through, because that's what I write songs about. I write songs about stuff that I know and I feel, and it's great to, it's like therapy for me. I share my stuff into my music, and people find something they connect to in it, and it's great. I'm so lucky to do what I do, and I don't take that for granted, no matter however many numbers it gets.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And actually, you say that, and it's quite similar to what we've done with the podcast as well. So we started the podcast during lockdown, and we, it was me and my mate that started the podcast up, and we were just like, literally, we used to spend our Fridays like just chatting about films and that sort of stuff, and because we couldn't actually meet up face to face, so it was like our way of coping and keeping in contact with each other. And then it just got to a point where I thought, well, why don't we just put it online? Like, people, there might be some people that listen to it and they're bored, or they feel lonely, or something like that, and the conversations that we're having, they can just join in on that and feel like they're involved in something other than just sitting there on their own. And actually it sort of, it worked. Like, people liked it, and it had a good reaction, and that's all we wanted to do it for, so people didn't feel lonely at a very lonely time. So it was nice.
It's great, man. It's great what you're doing.
So yeah, I mean, from your perspective at the moment, obviously we spoke about your music, and we look at the other music that's out there in the charts at the minute. Is there anyone in the charts that you like at the moment, or that you look at and think you're going to go and look at the charts now? But yeah, okay. Or if there's just any artist that you look at and think, I really, really like that person. I'm
looking at who's in the charts right now, and it's like, I didn't actually think that any of these songs were in the charts still. Like, I mean, I suppose Ed Sheeran's like just a permanent fixture, isn't he, in the chart? Like, I don't think he's come out of the chart since he was about 8 years old. I think he just said one day he was going to do it. Honestly, there's so much good music around at the moment, and I listen to quite a lot of different music, but I guess stuff that's been around right now, like, I'm really into Sam Fender's new album. I mean, it's not even new anymore, it's been out for ages, but he seems to just be absolutely killing it. I loved Dua Lipa's album, and that's still going really well. But there's so much good music in the charts. I'm just looking right now at like the UK top 40 this week, and I actually couldn't believe some of the songs that are still in there. Like that Gale song, the ABCDEFU, like, I do like that song. But I'm definitely more into, I'll tell you who's got a good tune out at the moment is that RD. I quite like grime and rap as well. Like, and H has got a song with RD that I really like at the moment. It's like, I think it's called War. I think the title of the song is actually War. Holly Humberston, really into her. There's loads of good music out at the moment that I'm into. I kind of listen to a bit. I don't want to say I listen to a bit of everything, because I definitely don't listen to like opera. Do you know what I mean? But like, I'd say I'm pretty chart friendly in my.
You're quite versatile with your music.
Not a very eclectic taste, but a lot of it. I listen to stuff.
I was going to say, like, when the first person you said, Sam Fender, I love that guy. I think his music is brilliant. And obviously watched him at the when they did the Brits last week, I think it was, and that was really cool as well. He was really good there. So
have you seen that his Brit is now attached to a pump next in his local pub? Like, they put now is his favorite beer in his local pub, instead of pulling a pint on like the handle, they've like nailed his Brit to it so that he can make his own. It's hilarious. Right. I feel
like that's the kind of artist that you would be. Like, you wouldn't forget your roots, and that sort of stuff would like, yeah.
If I was winning Brits, I would like to think that I would be still wanting to celebrate that with the people with where I'm from. Like, I don't live in London. I still live in Leamington. I haven't moved anywhere. I'm in London all the time and stuff, but I really like Leamington. I love living in the Midlands, and I think it's a great spot, and I'd like to. I'm always championing it, like I always, I'm very proud to tell people when I'm going to different cities around the country, or, back in the good old days of getting on a plane, I'd always love to tell people stories about where I'm from. And I hope that that never changes. I don't think it will. Leamington's a crazy place to live. It's quite funny. And it's full of great people. It's a great community, and I feel like I've been enough places now to know how lucky I am to live here with so many amazing people around me. So yeah.
No, maybe I agree with that. Sorry.
Maybe we'll win a Brit one day, but who knows?
No, I agree with you. I think Lem is brilliant. It's such a nice place. People are so friendly. People are so welcoming, and I think there's a lot of people that support each other in Leamington as well. So So I was going to say, should we go for a song, and then we can come back. So I asked you to pick 3 songs. So what's your first choice?
So out of classic artist vanity, I'm going to pick one of my own songs first, mainly because if there's anyone who's never, which I'm sure almost all the listeners, I imagine, unless anyone who found this podcast through me from being on this episode today, won't have heard my music. So I thought best thing to start with is like a good introduction to what I do. So I thought I'd pick one of my latest tracks called Strangers. It's on my new EP out March 4th, and I think maybe that's a good introduction to kind of hear the kind of music I make. So this is Strangers by Joe Dolman.
Okay, so that was Strangers by the wonderful Joe Dolman, who I'm currently sat with. So I really like that one, but what I will say is my personal favourite song that you have written is Middle.
Ah, nice. Yeah, so, thank you.
I don't know why, but it just sort of it makes me tap my feet every time I listen to it. So I really like it.
Thanks.
Cheers.
I'm glad you like it. I don't really know if I have a favorite song of mine. I get that question a lot of like, do you have a favorite song you've ever written? I'm like, at the time, the one I'm writing, and then it's like the next one. Oh, this is the best thing I've ever wrote, and then I've put that out, and then it's, I don't think I think I've got songs that mean a lot to me, like Close to Home. I've got the song called The Lucky One, which is about my dad. That one means a lot to me, but I don't think I could have like a favorite because I'm not so self-obsessed. I'm like, yeah, my music is the best. Like, I don't listen to my own music like on repeat. I just listen to other stuff. I just make my music.
That's good though, because it gives, I guess, that inspires you then to write something new instead of if you were to listen to your own music constantly, then you'd.
I'd just be in like a cycle of self-obsessed absorbance. I don't know. It wouldn't be good for anybody.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, we've spoke about your EP and all that sort of stuff. So you like I mentioned at the start, you're currently on tour at the moment, or you are starting to do gigs.
I've finished now. I just did like a little week-long run of like 3 gigs. I didn't really go far at all. I just did. Hello, everybody. This is some gigs because no one's been outside for 2 years.
Right. Okay.
Quick run of 3 shows, which was honestly great to be back out and playing and seeing people I haven't seen in a long time, and new people who found me in the lockdown, found my music through the pandemic, and was like, great to see new people coming to shows. And I had such a good time.
Okay, so the question, I guess, was where would you like to perform most?
Oh, somewhere I haven't been?
Yeah.
I would love to go and play in America. Well, I've been to America and played, but not playing my own stuff. I've just gone and played with other musicians, but I would love to go and do some shows in like Nashville, LA, New York, Atlanta. I feel like is a place that I'd love to go and perform my stuff in. I feel like it would be really cool to see how I go down over there.
Yeah.
I've got so many there's so many artists that I listen to from America that I'm really into, and I would love to kind of go over there and see how my stuff goes down where so much of my favorite music is made. So America is definitely on the top of the list.
Okay. I was going to say as well, actually, I've got a few friends over in America, and they love sort of the, I guess, rock sort of indie sort of music that we have over here, because they sort of attribute it to be close to I guess like country music, but it's not so like country, American country, if you get what I mean. So it's got its own little
like trucks, beers, and all of that.
So I know quite a few. I've got a few friends in America that they like listen to. I've introduced them to the Kooks. I've introduced them to like bands like that, like the Wombats, and they love that sort of music. So
nice.
I think you do quite well over there, to be fair. Like it's not like it's your music is still like very, from what I gather of it, you could play it in the charts. Like it's like, whereas
I think it's quite accessible in terms of like, and I only say that because of like when I've just done these shows last week and touring pre-apocalypse, I saw like I see a real age range come to gigs. There's no like I wouldn't say there's any particular like primary. It's not like all 14-year-old girls.
I was about to say that.
But people assume it probably would be because like I wear skinny jeans and have a fringe and write songs about girls, but not all my songs are about that sort of thing. Some of them are pretty serious, and like I think that, not that songs about girls aren't serious, but like I think that there's a real range in age. So it's nice to see that people from all walks of life and times in life can find something in what I'm doing. So and I'd love to go over to America and see how I got on over there for sure.
Okay, cool. And musical inspirations. So obviously people have just had, I guess, sort of an idea of the music that you write from that last song. So who would you say inspired you to, I guess, become the artist that you've become today?
I would say I have pretty ranging influences, because I wouldn't say that all my influences are directly obvious in my music. The first few people that I would say, like when I first realized I could be like a singer-songwriter, I was listening to people like James Morrison and John Mayer and even like Jack Johnson and like acoustic, even Ed Sheeran, Passenger, James Blunt, like that kind of like and I suppose bands like The Fray, like I'm talking like early 2000s, like to 2002 to 2012, like that kind of part of what we heard in like singer-songwriter, driven, Damien Rice, that sort of people. But I also am like really into like bands from like obviously the Beatles, Beach Boys, etc., like bands like that from 60s and 70s. My dad's a huge music lover. Like my dad isn't, gun to his head, I don't know if he could sing a song like note for note. He's not a musician, but he is a huge music lover and knows loads about music. And one of his favorite bands is ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, and that's all it's all very American even though they're British, but like it's the singer-songwriter genre. Jeff Lynne from ELO, worked with like Tom Petty and like, again, like George Harrison, Bob Dylan, like very like classic singer-songwriter. I think that was a huge part of it. But my mum, who is a nurse by trade, but is an amazing singer, and never did it professionally or anything, but can sing really well. And she used to be in a gospel choir when I was a kid, like just like a community gospel choir. Like, so I fell in love with a lot of soul, Motown, like gospel, jazz, like definitely more so on like the easy listening side of things, like stuff that was quite easy to listen to. But it kind of gave me a real range of what my understanding of what music was when I was growing up. And I think that all of that combined, and then when I started discovering guys with guitars like James Morrison and John Mayer, and I was like, wow, you can like write songs, Damien Rice, you can write songs about stuff that you're going through and share it that way. Like that kind of just opened my mind to what I could do. And it it's been exciting figuring out what, I'm still just getting started really. I'm still figuring my way out and seeing how what my music sounds like. But yeah, I've got a pretty big influence, I'd say, of great music.
No, it sounds it, but it's good because you can, a lot of the stuff that you've written, you can hear like a where you've potentially pulled your, as a musician from. You can definitely hear that. You've got a very definite style of music, and that's that's really interesting to just hear those names, because obviously when you then listen to the music, you're like, okay, yeah, fair enough. I can see now what
that's good. Oh, I'm glad.
But yeah, I mean, the likes of growing up, for me, all those names that you've mentioned, I'm like, yeah, I used to listen to them, like the Fray.
But then the Fray then as you kind of grow through the Fray, you find, I know that this was the same for you. Like you find bands like the Kooks, you find Arctic Monkeys, you find, and you kind of go on different directions. Wombats, again, another great one. Like
Razorlight,
yeah. And it's so funny now. Like I'm gonna do some writing with Andy from Razorlight in a couple of months, and like what's so crazy is like meeting. For me, like I'm still such a fan of music. Like I'm such a fangirl over so many people, and like I feel so excited hearing the stuff that they're making now, as well as what I feel a bit guilty being like, oh, just so you know, Andy, like I absolutely love album 1 that came out when I was 8. I work really close. Another massive influence for me, actually, which I didn't find until kind of towards the end of their, a local band, The Enemy. I didn't hear The Enemy the first time around when the first album came out. It was 2007. I was 11. I didn't hear it. I wasn't the audience that it was going for.
Yeah.
But by the time they released their 3rd album and 4th albums, I was in college and I was like, wow, who are this band? Like, and they're from around here, no way. And then I went on like a deep dive and was like, kind of re-educated myself with them. And then out of literally nowhere, I ended up going on tour with Tom from The Enemy, and like became, best friends like we are now. It's kind of crazy how stuff like that comes full circle. But he's been Tom on his own right, and The Enemy, and watching their and his career, pan out as it's been going, in the last 5 years, 6 years that I've known him, has played a huge influence on me as a musician doing it, professionally, doing it full time. So I think influence like that is just as important as like the musical influence as well. Me and Tom don't necessarily write the same kind of music, but watching how he's an amazing artist. He doesn't cut any corners when it comes to saying what he wants to say, and I try to be like that, and even if it turns out the music's slightly different from each other, but that's because we've got different life experiences. He's in his 30s, I'm in my 20s. We're at different points in life, but there's a lot to learn from him, and I feel super lucky to be able to be so close to someone I admire and respect so much. Not that I'm close with Andy Burrows, but watching somebody like him doing so many different projects, be it Razorlight, he writes, I don't know if you know this, but he writes loads of the music in Afterlife, the Ricky Gervais.
Oh,
Netflix.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, him and Ricky Gervais like write loads of the music, and he has like a whole bunch of different side projects, and like it's amazing to watch somebody who I've always liked him and like, oh, I love Razorlight, I love that kind of music. You can see his influence through all these things that I'm a huge Ricky Gervais fan and Afterlife fan, and it's so cool to like hear the music that I'm like, oh, I love that, and I know why. It's because the guy I like from that other band wrote it, and it's it becomes really full circle, and I find that really inspiring, and that really like gives me a lot of creative energy, I guess, to try and do more. I'm excited to be as good as I can.
Yeah, and was The Enemy, was the song, was it We'll Live and Die in These Towns? Is that what it was? Is that what it was titled?
Yeah, We'll Live and Die in These Towns was one of the singles and the title track of their first album.
Yeah.
They also had on that album, This Song Is About You, Away From Here was a big song on that album.
Yeah.
And then like, album 2 was like Be Somebody, which was a huge one. That was like the like anthem of Coventry, and it still kind of is, you know, like it's crazy. Like they've just announced like a reunion tour which they're doing later this year, and I supported Tom on the night that they announced it. He's been doing some solo shows, and you know, it's amazing to see like the influence they have in like Coventry culture, popular culture. It's wild, you know. I go to like very occasionally like we'll go to like a Coventry game or be in a pub in Cov when there's a Cov match on, and seeing like there's a pub called the Sky Blue Tavern just in Coventry, like by RIP what used to be IKEA, and it's like We'll Live and Die in These Towns is like painted onto the wall in the pub. It's like, it's amazing to see that like they've had such a big influence and are so adored in our local area. You know, it's great, and that's inspiring as well. You know.
Yeah, I love that as well, because they were, you know, growing up. Yeah, The Enemy were one of my favorites as well. Like me and my brother, we had their CD. Like we went out and bought the CD and all that sort of stuff. And we really like The Enemy. Both of us still now to this day. And I did see it on Facebook that they were doing that like reunion stuff, because I follow them on Facebook, and
nice.
It popped up, and it's the first time obviously someone had posted in a while, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, I've got to get tickets to that, because that will be wherever they're touring, wherever they're going to be, you know, playing their music. Obviously we've got to go to that, because it brings back so many memories as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting tour. I'm going to be going on a few of the shows as the support act, and I can't wait to. Honestly, I just can't wait to witness it. Like, I think it's going to be so exciting to see. You know, I know from spending so much time with Tom, and like I've toured with him when he's been playing solo, you know, on all of the tours he's done since the band broke up in 2016. I've been the support act for all the tours except for one when I was away doing something else, and you know, been really close with him. They did a musical about We'll Live and Die in These Towns in Coventry, and like I've seen firsthand how much those songs and that album means to so many people. So I can't wait to see the excitement of like thousands of people when they see like that coming back this year. So it's going to be cool. I'm really looking forward to playing, and I can't wait to get in front of them myself and play my stuff and see how it gets on. You know, we'll see.
No, that's yeah, it's wicked, mate, and you know, congratulations to you for that. And you know, there'll be a lot of people that go to those shows that obviously haven't listened to you yet, and that's surely going to be amazing for you as well as an artist, because there will hopefully be a lot of people that come away from those shows and go, oh man, that Joe Dolman's wicked. I can't, you know, I want to go and figure him out and listen to his music.
I hope so. I feel super lucky to have the opportunity to, like, you know, not only the opportunity given to me by Tom and by the guys to get out and play, you know, as the support act, but also the opportunity that like the audience give you. You know, they give you a chance by turning up early and not staying in the pub around the corner till 9 when the band come on. They come down at 8 and watch the support act, and like that's an opportunity I like do not take for granted, because you know they could just stay in the pub and drink a pint of beer they actually like for cheaper, you know, rather than going into a venue and, you know, spending more money on a can or whatever. Like, you know, they come down and support, you know, the local first on, you know, act like me. And it's going to be exciting. I hope that I win some people over, you know, we'll see how we get on.
I think you'll be all right, mate. I think you'll be fine. So that's really cool to just hear about all these other people that you're sort of working with as well. And that was actually going to be one of my next questions. And that was, who is your favorite person to write music with?
Oh God, that's a hard question. I write with so many different people, and
you're going to upset people now, aren't you, by saying?
Yeah. I feel like I should just like throw some disclaimers out. Like, I love you all just the same. You're like children to me, family to me. I'm really the child in all of those relationships. Well, I've got like, when it comes to my own music, I co-write quite a lot of my own music, as well, I'd say like, I wouldn't say maybe half I co-write is done with other people. There's a girl called Katie Ray who I'm really close with. We've been writing together for probably 4 years. She co-wrote quite a few of my songs, including If You're Mine, which is like my biggest song on Spotify, and a few others from that whole EP a few years ago. I'd say that I really, she's one of my favorite people to write with, because we write not just for me, but we work as like a partnership for a whole bunch of different people and other artists. I would also say there's a couple of people in like America that I write with on Zoom. That's been an amazing thing from the pandemic, is like it kind of, even though it shut a lot of doors, quite literally shut a lot of doors from the pandemic, but it also opened up a lot of doors too, because everything was on Zoom. It was like, well, we don't just have to write with people in the UK. We could just like see if anyone in America wants to write. And I've been working with a couple of amazing artists. This girl, Savannah Scrow, she's in LA. A girl called Blue Eyes, she's also in LA. Another girl called Meg Smith, who's in New York. I feel like I've got so many. And there's an amazing artist that I'm working with at the moment called Leo in the UK. She's absolutely killing it. All these people are like independent artists as well, and they're doing so good. Leo, I've written a couple of songs with her, which have been like picked up by Radio 1, and like Elton John's been championing them on his show Rocket Hour on Apple Music, and it's amazing. And I feel so lucky to get to collaborate with such honestly incredible artists and writers. So I'm lucky really, but there's definitely loads of people I didn't name, and I'm sorry.
I'm going to let you off on that, because I said who's your favorite and you gave me about 5, but I'll let you go.
That's me narrowing it down from like 100.
No, it's all good though. It's nice to hear, you mentioned those artists as well, and there's obviously, the like you say, there's a lot more there, so it's cool to hear that there's so much collaboration going on. And I definitely feel you when you say about all these doors closing, but then doors opening that you wouldn't have even thought about, like me and this podcast. Some of the people that I've had the chance to speak to, I never thought I would get that opportunity to speak to them. 7-time gold medalists, MBEs, like OBEs, like people that have been sort of at the top of their career, and then the Queen has gave them an award because of it. Like that's incredible.
It's great, man. Congratulations. So good.
But yeah, so from I 100% get what you're saying, and I agree with you on that about doors opening that you didn't even think would possibly open. So in a weird way, it's been a shit couple of years, but it's sort of like it's been good for people as well. Some people it's been really good for.
It's trying to make the best of a bad situation, isn't it? It's I think there's always going to be silver linings to find. It's just not always easy to find them, and I feel very lucky that I've been able to find a couple of things that have made it all a little easier. I definitely I'm aware of how privileged I am to be able to do what I'm doing, and don't take that for granted. So yeah, it's not all bad, not for me. I'm feeling super lucky, and I try to do good with the opportunity I have.
Yeah, and remain positive. That's it, isn't it? It's a positive mental attitude. That's it.
Yeah, PMA. That's my girlfriend's always been like, PMA, Joe, positive mental attitude. I'm like, okay, you're right.
But yeah, I think we'll go into the second song if that's all right, and then we'll come back and we'll play Quickfire. So what's your second choice, mate?
Okay, I feel like I chatted loads about Tom and the Enemy, so I'm gonna pick an Enemy song. Let's go with let's go with Away From Here by the Enemy. I feel like that's just an easy one.
Okay, so we're back. So that was Away From Here by the Enemy. Absolute tune. And we're back into the final section, and this is Quickfire. So for those of you that don't know, Quickfire is a game that we play with all of the guests that come on our show. And Joe today has 60 seconds to answer as many questions. And whatever score he gets at the end, he will be put on the leaderboard. Joe, the top score at the moment is 15, so you have to beat 15.
15 questions in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
That's good going.
Yeah. That's a lot of them are sort of you've got two options, so you pick one or the other. So, that's why people are able to get through it so quickly. But
I'm going to try my best to give honest answers, but I'll try not to, I'll try not to lie for the sake of getting number one on the leaderboard. Just word I can.
I will say a lot of people have lied and just sort of said the first answer.
Not, don't take anything I say in the next 60 seconds for truth.
Okay, all right, you ready?
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Favorite sport?
Football.
Person you looked up to growing up?
Parents.
Nice. Favorite color?
Orange.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Night in or night out?
Night in. Boring.
If you weren't a musician, what would your job be?
Unemployed. No idea. Maybe mechanic.
What was your first job?
Social worker.
Nice. Do you have a hidden talent?
No.
Mode of transport?
Car.
Biggest crush growing up?
Biggest crush growing up? Love Actually, Keira Knightley.
Nice. Takeaway of your choosing?
Piccolinos in Warwick. Pizza.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Facebook, Twitter or Instagram?
Twitter.
Favorite singer?
Favorite singer? Oh my god. You're trying to get me killed. Favorite singer? Stevie Wonder.
Okay, right. I'll give you that one. So that's it. We're done. That was 60 seconds.
Can I get?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Oh, that's not bad though. That's pretty good. And honestly, almost all of those were true. Stevie Wonder is not my favorite singer. I just was like, I need to pick someone who's neutral, and I was like, I do really like Stevie Wonder. Obviously, when you said favorite singer, I was like, I can't think of anyone who sings. Like, I know no singers right now. That's what it
does to you. It's sort of
pressure.
Yeah, the pressure of it. It's like but yeah, you didn't do too bad, to be fair. 15 14 is not a bad score. The lowest score is 9, so you've not done.
Okay, I'm safe. I'm in like a good, I'm in a good spot.
You've probably got to be within the top 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, nice. I'll take that. My girlfriend sometimes asked me once. She was like, if you were ever famous, what like TV show would you go on? When like celebrities like get famous for doing whatever they do, and then they end up on like I'm a Celeb or like Strictly Come Dancing. I think it was when Strictly was on. She was like, what would you go on? And I was like, Bake Off. I'd go. I couldn't do I'm a Celeb because I couldn't deal with the food. I can't dance. I definitely can't dance on ice. So I was like. And I can't cook. I'm rubbish cook. So I was like, I'd rather go on Bake Off, and I feel like it's less embarrassing that I can't bake than I can't cook, But yeah, so I was like, Bake Off is where I'd go.
I think mine would probably be something like Love Island, to be honest.
Oh man, Tom, maybe don't tell your partner this, but like I think you do well on Love Island. You feel like.
Mate.
Well, I would not look good in like swimming shorts for 3 weeks. That's not what people need to see.
I think you overestimate me, mate.
I'd be so, but I'm only a quarter Irish, but the quarter of Irish that's in me is the bit that gets sunburned. So I'd just be like red for 3 weeks or however long they're in there. It's way longer than that.
No, yeah, I think you overestimate me, mate. I do not look good in swimming shorts anymore. So, yeah.
Well, they got a gym. We can get ourselves in shape. We can do well.
That's it. But yeah, that's pretty much it, mate. So that's the show, really. So I guess, yeah, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. It's been really nice to catch up with you. Let me know when you've got a gig, obviously bar the one that you're doing with me anyway, but let me know when you've got some other stuff, because me and the missus would like to come. So just let us know when you've got something going on.
I will do. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to next month. Hopefully, everyone listening has enjoyed listening. Thank you for having me, and I hopefully we'll see some people next month at the gala.
Cool.
Your ticket.
Cheers, mate. Catch up with you soon.
Yeah, all right, mate. I'll see you later.